The train ride that hopes to thrill you a little and chill you a little. Patience as we pull into Death Station.
Well, hello. This is the Horror Express, and I am your conductor. I'm very angry today that I could just spit teeth. The guys planned to talk about dolls. Can you imagine such a thing? This is a horror train, and dolls are just not permitted. These are toys for little girls, not unearthly things to be feared. I just hope they pull this off, or there will be consequences. Terrible, terrible consequences. Maybe a talk on dolls could be rather fun after all. Oh, death dogs, come here, boys. I might have some work for you. Now move along, and Jason and Ron will join you in car 13 in a moment. If they can.
How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. If I'm correct, you've been out shooting again.
I wish I was out shooting. I have done some stuff, but I've been doing a new television show that I've been working on.
Oh.
And you kind of remember reading Rainbow back in the day. Well, I wanted to try to do my own version of that, but as opposed to just showing the books and reading the books and talking about it, I wanted to actually bring an adventure to life for these kids, to show them that what you read in the books can really happen if you just use your imagination a little bit. And honestly, if it wasn't for my imagination and reading books when I was a kid, half the stuff I put out there today wouldn't have existed. So, I'm very thankful for books, and I'm also looking around and seeing that there's so many people that are just so illiterate or are not able to visualize anything. And I'm like, why is that? What happened where they can't imagine a picture? I'm sitting here watching these things on like HGTV, and these people come walking in, they're like, oh, well, I want to do, I want to redo this entire house, but I can't see how any of this is going to work, and I can't picture. I don't think it's going to work for us. Or they walk in there and they see this color on these walls, and they're like, oh, I can't buy this house. It's got blue walls. I don't like blue. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you have no imagination? Are you not able to grab a can of paint and paint?
Exactly.
Are you not able to express what you want to express? You have it in your head what you want anyways. Why can't you just see it laid out? And this is a problem that we've been running into, and that's why I'm trying to create the show, to reignite our imagination, help make reading fun, make it interactive, and get them from behind the frickin' computer and video games already.
Well, that sounds pretty good. And gee, that sounds like civic-minded Jason.
It is civic-minded, Jason. I have many facets to my life, that's for sure. I love doing what I do, and I love to produce things, and I love to be creative. And if I can make the world a better place, if I can make it pleasing for people to see, live in, experience, and learn from, then that's what I'm here for.
And it sounds like that could be a Beatles song.
That could be a Beatles song.
Make the world a better place. I could see John Lennon right now just up in heaven going, dang.
Wish I thought of that.
All right. Well, Jason, I can't say that I have exciting news, but I can tell you that everything is going great here. I have finally decided that I am going to write a book. I have been talking about it my whole life. I edit books for a living, but I am actually going to write one now. And
well, congratulations.
And it's going to be, what I've decided to do is take all the stories that people have given me at Ron's Amazing Stories and put them in an anthology book. And I'm hoping that you guys, the listeners, will read it and tell all your friends to read it and so forth and so on. But first, I have to write it.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
That's something new. It's fun. You've never done it before, so yeah, give it. You've always been editing for other people. Why don't you try it yourself? I love that.
Yeah. Now, who do you think I should get to edit it?
Well, you don't want me to edit it, but I
Will you read it for me though?
I absolutely will read it for you.
All right.
Absolutely.
When you'll get the first copy, I'll send it to you. You get to do the first read through and tell me if it's junk or hunk.
Sweet.
All right. Well, Jason, we do have a topic today, and like I said in the opening, I honestly didn't think that this would make a show, but I was wrong. Jason, we're going to talk about the haunted doll.
Yes, we are, and I've been doing this a long time. In fact, I've actually incorporated some of my own haunted dolls in my artwork. I've studied this for a long time. I've had personal experiences with it, so I'm really excited to be able to get to talk about this.
Well, let me tell you what I found first off. There's an actual definition for a haunted doll. A haunted doll is a handmade or manufactured doll or stuffed animal that is reputed to be cursed or possessed in some way. The earliest report of a haunted doll goes all the way back to our friends in ancient Egypt. Yes, Egypt again. The enemies of Ramses III attempted to use wax images in his likeness to bring about his death. The dolls used in this ritual were said to be living and would curse anyone who bore their resemblance. How about that?
That's interesting because that sounds like the very first voodoo doll.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and in fact, you've got the ancient Egypt poplet, the effigy, and of course, voodoo dolls. And those are the types of dolls that people use to put curses on other people. So, yeah, exactly. The original voodoo doll.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's interesting is there is so much proof that there's something going on that I was absolutely blown away by the number of stories I was able to find written by real people and famous people too about haunted dolls. It's crazy and freaky scary.
Well, let's get to some of them.
Shall we start out with a fun one? You ever heard of Robert the Doll?
No, I have not.
Well, he was once owned by Key West painter and author Robert Eugene Otto. The doll is alleged to be possessed by spirits and was the inspiration for the Chucky doll in the 1988 horror film Child's Play. Now, supposedly Otto was given the doll in 1906 by a Bohemian servant who was skilled in black magic and voodoo. And he didn't really like his boss. He was displeased with the whole family. Now, the doll still exists today. It's held in the Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, and it is listed in that museum as being haunted, and it's kept behind a glass case for that reason.
Actually, I do recognize it now. Yes, I just did not recognize the name, but yes, I do know of that doll.
So what do you think about that? I mean, my goodness. It doesn't really tell us what happened. Going back to our curse discussion of a long time ago, do you think it's possible to give a doll life to just simply make people's lives hell?
Well, yeah, I mean, people do stuff like that. I don't truly believe that it's cursed. What I do believe is that somebody has used the magic to maybe invite an unwanted spirit into the doll. And that's the thing about it, because a lot of the times spirits need hosts to live in, or they need something to capture them. And it's like a miniature body for these types of entities. So that's why people seem to use these dolls as ways to transport these spirits to cause havoc in somebody's lives.
Well, okay, so I have another story. You want to hear it?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. This one is called Letta the Gypsy Doll. In 1972, Carrie Walton decided to face a childhood fear by visiting an abandoned building that had scared him for years. While there, he discovered an old marionette underneath the porch. Now, if you don't know what a marionette, that's a puppet. He decided to take it home with him, and he still owns it to this day. Some people believe that the doll was made 200 years ago by a Romanian gypsy for his son who had drowned. It is believed the soul of the gypsy son now lives in this doll. The doll was given the name Letta or Lida due to his European gypsy heritage. The doll is rumored to move on its own at times, change positions while seated, and is said to emit a pulse while you hold it. It has been reported that it rains whenever the doll is taken outside, and supposedly hanging pictures slide off the wall when the doll enters a room. The doll has real human hair, and here's the really freaky part. Animals often try to attack the doll whenever they come in contact with it. People say that they feel fear or sadness whenever they see the doll. Now that to me is more of a traditional haunting and certainly isn't voodoo-ish.
No, it's not voodoo dish. But I'll tell you one of the things that probably is causing that to happen, and that's it has real human hair. See, even though it's technically cut and it's not a living organism in our body, it's something our body produces, that still contains our energy. So it depends on whose hair that came from. If it came from his son who died, there's a big problem in there. That could actually be retaining that energy in that doll. And if it came from somebody else, if you the barbershop, you know how many people you go to the barbershop and there'd be hair all over the ground. You just don't know who those people were, what type of energy they had inside. If they were evil people, if they were happy people, you don't know. But you're taking that piece of them and incorporating it into a doll, making it technically like a host. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree. That is crazy. Do you want to go back to the world of voodoo again and hear another story?
Yeah, let's do some voodoo.
All right.
Voodoo.
All right, here is a voodoo zombie doll. The voodoo zombie doll was originally made in New Orleans and sold through eBay to a woman in Galveston, Texas in 2004. The original eBay seller's advertisement stated that the doll was very active and almost alive. The doll arrived in a metal box and included a list of rules to follow while owning it. Mainly, do not remove it from its box. Well, the woman did not follow the most important rule and removed it from its silver casing. The woman claimed that the doll repeatedly attacked her and claims that it haunted her dreams. She relisted it on eBay many times. However, each time she managed to sell the doll, the new buyer would receive an empty box on their doorstep. Meanwhile, the doll would keep reappearing in her house like it had never been shipped in the first place. Many years later, she was finally able to pass it off to a ghost hunter who still owns it to this day.
Wow.
All right, Jason, your thoughts on that?
Well, nothing in New Orleans that goes down is ever pleasant when it comes to the occult. So, if somebody actually used that and built it with the occult, I'm sure that they've summoned some type of spirit in there, and I'm sure it was not a great spirit either.
You think?
It's almost like it was designed to be a negative object, as opposed to just somebody having something and attracting a normal spirit to it. It almost sounds like they were designing it for that purpose, which is even more horrifying in that means. I don't know. I believe in stuff like that. I believe that you can sit there and summon actual live demons to live inside of these dolls. And the thing about dolls is they call to you. It's like you want to be able to love them. You want to be able to touch them. They call you to do that. And that's what I think what makes these things so horrifying, that you're going at it innocently, yet when people behind it build it to do stuff like this and haunt people and hurt people, that's a crazy scenario.
Well, and Jason, this one to me is one of the ones that I felt like had proof. Obviously, you can't say something was listed on eBay many times without there being proof that it was listed on eBay many times. And with that, I bet you got some unsatisfied customers that open up the box and find no doll in there. Again, proof. This one to me makes me go, wow. There has to be something to this. And then it said that he was able to pass it off to a ghost hunter who still owns it today. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the show with the guy that goes around collecting haunted items and to protect people because they get into so much trouble with them. He takes them back to his museum and protects it. You got to wonder if maybe this isn't one of those.
It's a good possibility it is, yeah.
So this to me comes with proof. You know, I don't personally have the proof, but it's out there.
Yeah, I think you do need proof in this one, and because it's only 2004, it's not that old, so there should be some type of proof on it somewhere.
Exactly.
But you know, it'd be if they do this, tell the person who owns it. You know, let's hear some names and stuff like that. However, the scenario behind it and how the doll was made and stuff like that, it is a very good possibility that it is there, and it did happen. Now, whether or not this thing actually, attacked her and everything like that, I don't know. You know, we'd have to see. But it is interesting to explore that option. But just to know that it can happen the way that they were saying it, with voodoo and stuff like that, it's a possibility.
All right, Jason, do you want to hear more? Shall I keep going on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this next one is called Mandy. The doll itself is made in England or Germany between 1910 and 1920. Mandy is a porcelain baby doll. She was owned for many years by a woman who claimed that she would hear the doll crying from the basement she was kept in the middle of the night. The woman later donated Mandy to the Quisenall Museum in British Columbia in 1991. At the museum, Mandy continues to cause mischief for the employees. People claim that lunches and other items go missing. The items usually turn up elsewhere in the building. Footsteps are heard when no one is around. The museum staff claims that Mandy couldn't be displayed with other dolls because she had a tendency to knock the other dolls over or mess up the area she is displayed in. For this reason, Mandy has her own display case far away from the other dolls in the exhibit. Visitors to the museum say that her eyes will blink or follow you wherever you walk, and it's hard to photograph her because she likes to mess with video or camera equipment. Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Proof. This is, if I wanted to, I could probably go track down some witnesses on this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what do you think? Give me some feedback on this one. A baby doll, porcelain.
Porcelain's even harder because it's actually it's a hard substance and it can actually contain energy inside of it. So I don't know how it got haunted. That's what's really interesting about it. But if it happened between 1910 or whatever, it could be that somebody loved it enough that when they passed away, that may have been one of their comfort pieces when they were here on Earth, and maybe their spirit is attracted to it somehow, some way. They don't want to leave it behind. I have a couple like that myself, sitting in my house right now. They're not necessarily a malicious spirit, but they do cause mischief sometimes, which is pretty fun.
I love mischief.
Yeah, mischief is fun.
Well, the fact that they put it in with other dolls and the other dolls get knocked all off and she's standing there going,
right.
That's cool.
That is cool. So you have one more?
I do. I have one more story, and it is my favorite. This one has a name. It's called the Pula Obeen Barbie. You ready for that?
Okay.
In 1914, the British Army investigated a German couple living in Pulau Ubin, Singapore, as possible spies. The wife and husband were chased down and apprehended by the army, but their young daughter managed to escape. Unfortunately, she lost her footing and plummeted off a cliff. She did not survive the fall. The locals constructed a monument to honor her memory. The porcelain altar is said to contain a lock of the girl's hair and a personalized crucifix. After the monument was built, a man from Pula Albin had a dream about a little girl leading him to a specific toy store. In the dream, she pointed to a Barbie doll that was put up for display in the store window. The man had the dream 3 nights in a row. Eventually, this compelled him to visit the store that he kept seeing in his dreams. To his surprise, he not only found the store, but found the doll that the little girl had pointed at in his dream was displayed in the store window. He purchased the doll and placed it at the shrine. At that moment, he felt that the spirit of the little girl transferred to the doll and finally found peace. Today, local people and tourists from all around the world visit the doll. They bring items to the shrine in hopes that the spirit of the little girl will grant them health or fortune.
Wow. That's really cool because this one is actually, the girl had no connection to the doll beforehand in life, which is like really interesting.
Yes, and what's surprising about it is that again, people are flocking to see this doll. So again, you've got proof in the sense that, well, there's people coming to see this thing. It's a real thing in Pula Albin, so there's some truth to it. And of course, we know that in 1914, during that time, that was right around the World War I, there was a lot of things that happened in war, and people are accused of a lot of different things. And so why not accuse a couple of spying? And so the story seems plausible too.
It does.
So, I don't know, this one grabbed me the most of all of them. You got a modern-day Barbie doll. Now, they didn't say when they attached to the Barbie doll. I'm guessing, I think the first Barbie dolls came out in the 30s or 40s?
I thought it was the 40s.
Okay,
Early 50s.
So the time frame makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so Jason, you've exhausted the number of stories that I thought were significant. It's time for you to take over and tell me yours.
Dolls aren't only the things that get attracted to and haunted. I have seen many different things that are attract to and retain energy and spirits. Knives, for one. Bullets. Sometimes you can go and get like a Civil War bullet that you find out in the forest or something like that, or you find like an arrowhead. Now, these have actually been used in most cases to kill something. And therefore, once that hits, it captures that energy. For instance, my mom, when I was young, we went up in Massachusetts, and my mom and my dad, antique store, and they bought a bed. The bed was probably about 100 years old. Now, this is in the 70s, so that would make it about 1870. When they brought it home, they put it together. The first night that she slept on it, my mom actually felt like she was being choked out and unable to leave the bed. Finally, it would relieve her. She would tap my dad. My dad would turn around and say, "What's going on?" And she's like, "This bed's haunted." He goes, "The bed's not haunted." So more and more things started happening around the house. In her bedroom, things would go missing. Earrings would go missing. You know where you put it because you put it in your jewelry box, but then it's not there the next day. But then it's somewhere in a room that you haven't even been to. So they got rid of the bed, and all the haunting stopped. I also have some that I actually bought on eBay. Now, when I do things with my photography, you know that I like to try to make it as authentic as possible. And I have always had a fascination with haunted dolls. You know, you see the marionettes, you see the ventriloquist dolls, and I decided I wanted to go get a real haunted doll. Now, when you're buying something on eBay, you can only go by with what the seller says. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is haunted, but I didn't care. Now, the story behind the one that I have is like an old Victorian dress type thing. It's a porcelain doll. That the owner of that had a major collection of dolls, but this one was her favorite. And I could see why. It's gorgeous. But when she passed away, she had that doll with her, and it was by her bedside. And the other one was a French doll, and it was from a kid. She had it as a child. She grew up. She got into some really bad things. She got into some prostitution, drugs, and everything else. But she always had this doll with her. And eventually, she ended up dying from a disease that she had contracted, and the doll was with her as well. When you look at these dolls' eyes, you can see beyond it. I don't know how to really explain that, but you can tell that there's more to it than just the doll. And that was one of the things that made me want to buy it. So I bought these dolls. I think one of them was $20, the other one was like $30. And when I got them, I had them out. I put them on display. I actually took pictures with them. You can actually see them in the Dreams, Nightmares, Fears, and Fantasies Volume 3. It was so cool because people don't like these dolls when they see these pictures. Even though they're beautiful pictures, I didn't intend them to be horrifying, and I never told anybody that they were haunted. And they just don't like these particular pictures. Now, what's really cool about it is that I went into a store, and it was a gallery actually, and I like to bring my props with me so people can see it, they can feel it, they can see the picture, they can see the dress, whatever I may have, and act it out. Well, I brought the 3 dolls. Now I have 3 dolls. One of them looks like it just got dug up out of a grave, and that was an art project by a high school girl. She did a phenomenal job on this. Now that one is not haunted, but the other 2 were sitting right next to it. All the kids came up and grabbed the most grotesque and horrifying looking doll that was out there. They would not go near those 2 other dolls.
Wow.
So I started to say, wow, that's really weird. And everybody in that room, there must have been a couple hundred people. Nobody went near that side of the room. They wouldn't do it. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Because I sat back and I watched. And I observe everything when I'm on my shows. And I tell my stories, but I also do that. So when I got home that night, I said, this actually may have some real legitimate types of haunting. This may be a real legitimate haunted doll. So what I did is I took out my EMF detector, and EMF detectors are electromagnetic frequencies. And generally what happens is you find that around electronic equipment. Like if you're going around your wall and you come up close to a outlet, it'll spike a little bit because it reads that. When you turn on a microwave, it goes off the charts. So knowing that how that works, you have to have some type of electric current coming into a source of electricity coming to it. That's why when people are out ghost hunting, they use those electromagnetic fields, because if they see something in the middle of the room and it goes and disappears, but there's no electronics around it to cause something like that to happen, it gives them to say, okay, well, maybe there's a ghost here. I took my 2 dolls, I took them and put them in the middle of my living room. Did a pre-scan for my EMF detector, and there was nothing that would show over there at all. So when I put the dolls there, I did an EMF reading, and it went to almost a full surge all the way around it.
Wow.
Now when I walked about 3 feet away from it, they went away. So I moved into another part of the room, did the same thing. I moved into a glass table. Glass does not contain energy. Same thing. No matter where I put these dolls, they had this energy. And you can't have that if there's no electronics in it. Now, each doll is well over 35 years old. Actually, one of them is almost 65 years old. So back in early 2009, that would be about 1930 something. They didn't have electronic batteries that you could just take and move somewhere without being absolutely huge and heavy. So there are no batteries in these things. For it to give off those readings, I don't know how it's possible. It's virtually impossible. Now, I have had dreams where I could actually see the women attached to these particular dolls. I know what they look like. I can't really describe them too well, but I know that they were there, and I know that they were happy that somebody was taking care of these dolls that loved them as much as they did. Now, I don't go around playing with the dolls like they did, but I appreciate them, and I have a lot of respect for it and the story behind it. And I've noticed that the activity in my house dropped significantly when I started to appreciate that. It was really interesting because everybody that comes into the house, nobody wants to stay in the room where those dolls are. So I moved them out to the living room. And believe it or not, nobody sits in the living room. Everybody sits out on the porch or they come to the bedroom. So it's pretty interesting how these dolls still protect the domain that they're in. And I never tell anybody that they're haunted. Actually, there's only a few people I have, and obviously now everybody here knows that they're haunted.
So don't go to Jason's house.
I truly believe they're haunted.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Absolutely.
What does your wife think of these dolls?
She was a little worried at first, and she doesn't like to go up and look them in the eye. But when you look them in the eye, they actually look like they're looking back at you, like you can feel the soul inside of them. But she actually realized, because I'm relaxed about it, now I'm very, very sensitive to spirits and everything else. So if I'm calm about it, she's calm about it. But she also feels like it was nice to have, because the spirits may have been a little bit more active because they may not have been loved the way that they should have been loved. And these people who are attached to the dolls, not because of the fact that they were forced there, but because they loved them. And these brought comfort to them, so their energy stayed with them. I think it gives them a part of peace, and also knowing that they're part of the family too.
You mentioned that there were some events. Can you talk about that a little bit? What kinds of things did you notice that you thought maybe the dolls were responsible for?
Things would go missing. Things would be moved around the house there that I know I didn't touch. I'm one of those type of people that I have like a picture memory, so I know when things have been moved and when things haven't been moved. Now, working out of my house for the longest time, I was the only one there. And when my wife was there, I knew what she touched. So to have these things just kind of disappear and reappear in other places, that was pretty weird. The dogs would bark at them. That was pretty significant for me. And like I said, just typical poltergeist. Nothing malicious at all. I never got a malicious feeling out of any of these dolls. Otherwise, I would not have brought them into the house. One day, I just sat down and I talked to the dolls and said, "Look, you're welcome. I understand where you're coming from, and I want to make peace. Let's just live together." And all that stuff stopped.
Interesting that you said that the dogs bark at them. Going back to that Gypsy Doll, that was one of the things, is that the animals would attack the dolls whenever they came into a contact with it. So the animals seem to be that they are a little more sensitive to these haunted items than we humans are. It takes a sledgehammer to show us that they're there, but the lowly dog can see it right away.
That's right, and they can sense things that we can't sense.
Oh,
yes.
They
know when they're going to happen, even if it's a couple hundred yards away. They can sense that, where we don't sense that. We don't have sense of intuition like I wish we could, like I wish we had. So that's what's really neat about it. And when kids start to talk to things, or they don't want to go around something, and they should understand that it's haunted. And the dogs, when they bark at them, those are indicators that something's not right, especially with kids, because kids will start to talk to things, and they don't understand that it can't happen.
All right, so let's put a cap on this, and let me ask, and I think I know what you're going to say. Haunted dolls, real or not?
I believe they are real, and I believe that it can kind of happen in a couple different ways. One of them, you can conjure up spirits to come in and possess these dolls. And then you have the things like what I believe these dolls were, which were comfort items to people when they were sick or they were needing something, and they looked to these dolls for comfort, therefore transferring their energy there as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways that things can become haunted, and just because something is haunted does not necessarily mean that it's malicious in any way.
Sure. Well, I gotta say, I started out with this topic thinking, yeah, you're right, dolls. I've always thought dolls were creepy. Now, if you go to my mother's house, you will note that in the living room, and I just thought of this, by the way, this is just a realization I just had. In my mother's living room, there are dolls everywhere. Underneath the fireplace, along the fireplace, on the bookshelves, everywhere there's just dolls. And we as a family, when we get together at my mom's house, we always are in the family room, never sitting in the comfortable living room. Now, do you think that there's something to that? That some of those dolls in there have a story to tell?
I'm sure there are. And you know what? It might be interesting to go in there with one of those little voice recorders. Put them down there and ask. Talk. Ask them if there's anybody here. Do you know that you're alive? Do you know if you're dead? Ask them questions. Ask them their story. You might get something on those on your audio tape, and it might give you some answers to what's going on.
Yeah, now I know that my mom collected these dolls. She bought some of them new, meaning fresh, brand new, right from the manufacturer. But some of them she bought at garage sales or secondhand stores or antique shops, that type of thing. Right. So I think there could be something to that, Jason. Because we never sit in that room. Nobody ever wants to. Except my mom. She goes in there. She loves it.
Right. Well, think about this. When things are usually given to antique stores, it's usually because somebody passed away. And maybe they passed away from natural causes and, at a very old age, or maybe they passed away, very abruptly. And one of the ways that they don't want to get rid of these things because they meant something to these people. So they give them to these stores to try to sell them to people that will appreciate them. So when you get these types of dolls that are hand-me-downs from, garage sales or antique stores, you have a huge chance of catching something that you may not want to bring home with you.
All right, before we get to the story today, Jason, if I sent you some pictures of my mom's living room, do you think that you could sense anything from the pictures, or is that just too much of a stretch?
No, actually, that's a very possibility.
Why don't I do that? Send you a picture of her living room and then get your feedback on it. See what you think.
Okay.
I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, and here I'm doing it anyway.
No, let's do that, and I'll tell you what. Whatever, doesn't matter what show we have next time. We'll reveal what I think.
All right, and we'll have the pictures in the show notes next time too.
Awesome.
All right, Jason. Well, like I said, I think we should get to the story.
Okay, I agree.
Well, Jason, this thing is nasty. The subject matter is right out of the Book of the Dead. It comes from one of the best horror series of the golden age of radio, Lights Out. It aired on different networks at various times from 1934 to 1947. Now that is a long time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. I'm just going to play the thing. It's called Poltergeist, and it's freaky. It first hit the airwaves on December of 1936. Now, note that date, 1936. And the sound quality on this thing is off the charts. So, what do you say, Jason? We listen.
Let's do it.
Ironized Yeast presents Lights Out, Everybody. Is later than you think. This is Arch Obler bringing you another in our series of stories of the unusual. And once again we caution you, these Lights Out stories are definitely not for the timid soul. So we tell you calmly and very sincerely, if you frighten easily, turn off your radio now. But if you're fascinated by the mysterious, the fantastic, the unearthly, then anticipate chills in our story of Poltergeist.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, that was swell. Now let's go to town. St. Louis woman with her diamond ring, kicking that man around.
No, stop that, Kay.
What's the matter? Am I scaring the horse?
Oh, it seems like a sacrilege singing a song like that out here. This beautiful, clean snow and blue sky.
Well, what's wrong with a hot song to keep us warm? If you think the St. Louis blues is going to dirty up the snow, you ought to hear Frankie and Johnny the way I sing it.
Oh, stop it, Kay. You're not funny at all. Why can't you enjoy the fresh air without that cabaret sort of thing?
Oh, just an old-fashioned gal, eh, Florence? How about you, Edna? Don't you like my songs either? You haven't said anything for the last 5 minutes.
Well, I haven't been listening to you, to tell the truth. I love to watch the snow sort of flow along under the sleigh.
When you say that, gal, smile. Gosh, did you ever see more snow in your life?
The man at the hotel said it had been snowing on and off up here for 2 weeks.
I think coming out here to the country is the best thing we three have done since we started rooming together. Hiking in the snow is terribly healthy.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. The healthier I get, the worse I feel.
Crazy idiot.
She does say the funniest things, doesn't she? I always say that Kay ought to...
Whoa!
Hallelujah, we're here. Is this as far as we go, driver?
That's right, miss. Can't go no further down this road account of the drift.
Oh, my goodness. The drifts are too deep for a horse. How can we walk through them?
I second the motion.
Well, you young ladies don't have to worry none so long as you keep going down the valley over there. Snow ain't piled up that way all the way to Ma Jenkins.
Oh, well, that's marvelous. Come on, girls. Let's get started.
So long. Take care of yourselves, girls.
Come on, Edna. Goodbye, Miss Carol. Listen to the snow talking at us. It's very dry snow. Our feet rub particles of it together, and the friction makes a sound.
It's kind of scary, isn't it?
Why?
Oh, I don't know. It's just as if the snow was sort of trying to talk to us. I mean, as if it was angry at our trespassing.
Hey, don't tell me we're trespassing. I don't want any country squire taking any pot shots at my constitutional amendment with rock salt. No, thank you. Oh, don't talk nonsense, Kay. We're not trespassing. Why, this path through the valley here over to Mrs. Jenkins' house is the favorite hike of everyone who comes up this way during the winter. What's Mrs. Jenkins got anyway that makes people walk their feet off? Wait till you taste her cooking. Eat. Oh, boy, let's go.
It's awfully quiet out here, isn't it?
Oh, that's the glory of it. I've had the roar of the subway in my ears so long. Okay, don't walk so fast. Come on, look what I found. Oh, come on, Edna.
Oh, please. Let me take your arm. I'm getting out of breath.
Well, take it easy. There's no hurry. Well, what is it, Kay? Look, through the circle of trees here. Look what I discovered. Well, isn't that interesting? It's a sort of a natural amphitheater. Sure. Say, who was this guy, Daniel Boone?
What's an amphitheater?
Well, that means an oval circling place with rising tiers of seats. It's, like that place we went to for the horse show.
Oh.
Back in the times of the Greeks, they had outdoor theaters. Listen to the professor. And they used of places just like this, where the ground sloped up and made a sort of a natural arena or stage below. Theater. That's an idea. Sit down, gals, and I'll give you a special performance of the Kay Follies.
It's awful snowy here, isn't it?
I'll trample it down with my spring dance. Welcome, sweet spring. Isn't she a nut dancing in the snow? If I had that girl's energy.
She's really graceful, isn't she? I'll bet if she went on the stage,
Kay!
She fell.
Kay! Kay, did you hurt yourself? Oh, did I land on my dignity? Here, give me a hand. Here, I'll help you. There you are. Oh, did I take a flop?
Did you hurt yourself badly?
I'll live. What in the world did I trip over? Oh, no wonder. Look at that rock under the snow. No wonder I did a nosedive. Oh,
my goodness. There are rocks like that all over. A person could break their neck if they...
Girls, what's the matter?
What is it?
Kay, the rock you tripped over. It's not a rock. What are you talking about? Of course it's a rock. Well, yes, but it's something more than that. It's a tombstone. Tombstone? Oh, no, it can't be. Look for yourself. It says, "Here lies buried the remains of one who, restless in life..."
Stop. Don't read any more. Stop.
And all these other stones laying flat on the ground. They're tombstones, too? Yes. Whew, what a place to pick to dance.
Oh!
What's the matter, Edna? What did you scream for?
Kay, you danced on the grave.
What?
You danced on the grave. I saw you do it. You danced on the grave. Okay.
Edna, stop it. Stop it.
What's come into her? Edna, stop acting like that.
Stop, for heaven's sake. Control yourself.
Okay. Kay, I'm so sorry for you. You danced on a grave.
For heaven's sake, stop talking like that. Sure, I danced on a grave.
Well, yes, of course she did. It was perfectly accidental.
And what if it wasn't? What of it?
The poltergeist.
The what? Edna Hanson, what are you talking about? What's that word you just used?
Poltergeist. Okay, what have you done?
You superstitious little fool. If you don't stop talking that way, I'm going to slap your face. What's the matter with you? I didn't do anything.
You walked on the grave. You danced on the grave.
Edna, be sensible. We all walked on graves, but it was purely accidental.
Yeah.
We had no intention of desecrating them.
It doesn't matter, I tell you. It doesn't matter. The poltergeist. He'll come. I know he will.
Oh, what's the use? She's crazy.
Edna, what are you talking about? What's a poltergeist? What are you so frightened about?
My father, he told me, if you walk on a grave, if you dance on a grave, the poltergeist.
Poltergeist what? What is a poltergeist?
An evil spirit. It comes out of the grave. It kills. It destroys. It'll kill us. It'll kill us all.
Stop it.
It throws things
out.
Oh,
please. Lay off that. Edna.
But it won't get me. I'll run
Edna,
away.
come back here.
She's gone insane. I'll get her. Edna.
Can't catch her. Edna, don't run away. Nothing will hurt you. Nothing. Oh, Edna, look out.
Kay, what happened? That stone. It hit Edna.
Edna, open your eyes.
Blood all over her face. Kay, who threw that stone? Who threw it? I don't know. It came from the graveyard.
Now, girls, take it easy. Take it easy.
Oh, Doctor, she won't die. Tell me she won't die.
No, of course not.
And you're sure that her skull isn't fractured?
Oh, absolutely not. Maybe a little concussion, that's all.
Well, it's almost 5. Our train. Can we get someone to help us carry her down to the station so we can get her on board?
Bored? I'm telling you, that little friend of yours shouldn't be moved out of bed for a week. If you do, well, it might be just too bad.
Oh, Flo, what'll we do? You go home, Kay. I'll stay with her. Oh, no, you won't. I'm not leaving you here alone in this godforsaken place. If you stay, I stay too. Kay, please be sensible. Why should we all lose our jobs when you
If
can...
you'll excuse me, you ladies, I've got to be on my way.
Oh, yes, of course, Doctor. Is there anything more you can do for Edna, Doctor? Any medicine or something?
Nope, I've done all I can do. She's sleeping comfortable now. Miss?
Yes, Doctor.
The constable's sick, too, you know, and he's sort of depending on me to keep things straight. Now, just how did you say that little friend of yours got hurt?
Well, it was just the way we explained, Doctor. That rock came flying and...
Yes, I know, but who threw the rock?
We don't know.
What?
That's true, Doctor. We don't know.
But somebody threw it. You can't change facts. Somebody threw the rock that cracked her head.
For heaven's sakes, old man, you don't think we did it?
No, miss, I
didn't.
didn't.
Excited. Doctor, you've got to believe us. It happened just the way we said. All at once, that rock came flying through the air from the direction of the graveyard. It struck Edna, and we just didn't see who threw it.
All right, if that's your story. Well, you better stay in your rooms here. I mean, you better not be leaving till the constable's on his feet and has a chance to talk with you. I'll be back in a few hours and see how the girl is.
He doesn't believe us. What difference does it make? We know what we saw. But what did we see? She was running. She fell. Kay, well, let's not fool ourselves. There was no one there to throw that rock. There must have been. But there wasn't. Stop saying that! Aren't you brave enough to face facts? There wasn't any place for anyone to hide. I saw that stone. It seemed to come down out of the air. So slowly. Florence, if you don't stop talking like that... You remember what Edna said? It throws things. Stop looking at me like that. You're giving me the jitters. She said the poltergeist throws things. Spirit of evil. Florence, Rob, have you gone crazy, too? Why should we laugh at things like that? What right have we got to laugh? How do we know there aren't powers we can't see or understand? Powers of evil that revenge an insult just like an evil man. Kay, how do we know? What are you talking like that for? What are you trying to scare me for? You're supposed to be the most intelligent one of us all. You with your college degrees. Sure, I danced on the grave. But the dead are dead and they can't revenge a thing. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. I tell you, what? It's Edna. Come on. Edna, we're coming to you. Don't be afraid. We're coming. Open the door, Florence. It's not locked. Duck, it won't Here, let me. Edna, what is it? What? Edna, what? On your head.
Hey, what's going on here? I run a decent place, and I don't want you...
The girl on the bed. Her head. It's crushed flat in by a rock. God in heaven. It's not a rock. It's a tombstone.
I wish I could cry, but I haven't got any more tears.
Oh, Edna. Edna.
Florence, darling, please. You'll kill yourself if you keep on like that. Oh, if this horrible night would only end.
It was my fault. Mine. I was the one who got her out here. She didn't want to go. She hates the country. But I made her come. I made her.
No. No, you're not the one to blame. I am. I danced on the grave.
But she was so good. So sweet. Oh, why did it have to be Edna? Why?
You're right. It wasn't right for it to be her, was it?
Oh, no.
I did it, not her. I did it. I danced on the grave. I danced on the grave.
You can't deny what you see with your own eyes.
But I tell you, Doc, nobody could have carried that tombstone up the steps without me seeing him, could they?
But there it is, ain't it?
Yeah. There it is.
Either somebody's playing a terrible joke or...
You don't have to say it, Doc. I know.
That's just the trouble. You don't know, and I don't know, and nobody knows.
Yeah. And that tombstone.
Well, what about the tombstone?
I ain't quite sure, but that's a tombstone out of the old burying grounds up at the bend.
You're crazy.
No, I ain't either.
Well, that place is a good 3 miles from here.
Yeah. I know.
Who could have carted a heavy stone like that for 3 miles?
Yeah. Who?
Stop looking like that, you flap-eared old fool. Human hands carried that stone in here and killed that girl?
Sure.
Yeah, the constable will find out who did it the minute he's on his feet again. You wait and see.
No, he won't, Doc. You're smarter than me and all that, but this time you're wrong. There ain't nobody that takes in breath and leaves out breath like you and me, or the constable's going to find out who killed that girl. You know that, Doc.
Oh, stop talking. I wish the constable was here and this night was over. It's been a terrible night. Terrible.
Terrible clock. Ticking.
Yeah, I know. I've been sitting here listening to it.
I can't stand it anymore. I'll stop it.
Why bother with it?
Come on to bed, Kay. Please. There's no use sitting there. It won't help her.
Yeah. Nothing can help her. But maybe I can help you.
Me?
It was my fault. Mine. I was the reason it happened. It killed her, and it'll kill you and me, too, unless I stop.
No, don't say that.
It's true. But why should you be hurt? I'm to blame, not you. Listen, Flo. I'll go out there.
There?
Out there to the graveyard.
What?
I'll talk to her.
Kay.
I'll tell it I didn't mean to do it.
No.
That I didn't know where I was dancing.
Please.
Maybe somehow it'll hear, listen to me, and then it won't hurt you.
No, I won't let you go out there. It'll kill
But
you.
Florence...
It'll kill you, too.
But Florence...
No, I'll hold you. You can't go. You can't.
All right.
Come on to bed, Kay, please. In the morning things will be different.
But it won't.
Nothing will hurt us. And then they're right outside the door. They won't let anything get at us. Oh, please, Kay, please come to bed.
Yeah.
We'll pray.
Pray? I don't exactly know how.
Just say anything. Anything. Like this. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Now you.
If I should die
before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Kay? Kay, are you asleep? I can't sleep anymore. Kay, tomorrow, when it gets light and everything, do you think people will believe us? Do you think so, Kay? I'm not quite sure what happened. I always used to be so sure about things. And now Kay? Kay, where are you? Kay, where? The window. She went out the window. She's gone out there. To the graveyard. To talk to it. Oh, Kay, why did you go? Why did you go? I'll go out there, too. Oh, she'll be so frightened out there alone. I'll go, too. I'll go, too. Oh, so cold. My hands. Snow so sharp. Cutting my legs. Oh, why did you go out there, Kay? Why did you? I've got to find you. Wind. Oh, why doesn't the wind stop? Blow, blow, thou winter wind. Thou art not so unkind. Oh, I've got to find you, kid. I've got to find you. It's snowing. I love snow. Edna didn't like snow. Where are you, Kay? Where are you? I've lost my way. I've lost the road. Where are you, Kay? Kay, where are... Oh, Kay. I heard you, Kay. I heard you. I'm coming to you, Kay. We'll talk to it. We'll talk to it together. We'll tell it we didn't mean any harm, won't we, Kay? Won't we? Poor Edna. We can't help her, Kay. We can't help Edna. But I'm coming to help you, Kay. I'm coming. I'm coming. Florence. Here I am, Florence. Yes, I hear you. I hear you. I'm coming, darling. I'm coming to help. I'm coming to help you. I'm coming. I'm coming. I hear you. I hear you calling my name. I hear you. Yes. Here we are, Florence. This way, Florence. Here we are. Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Where are you? Where are you? This way. No! No!
This way, Hooper. They must have come this way.
Climbing out the window like that in the middle of the night. They must have gone crazy, the both of them.
Well, let's not worry about that now. We've got to find them. Here, give me that lantern.
What is it, Doc? What have you found?
A shoe. One of the girl's shoes.
My gosh, stuck in the snow. We're going the right way.
Come on, move fast. We've got to get to them.
Doc, look at this.
What is it?
Over there. Ain't these footprints?
Yes. Yes, that's right. Footprints. Hello, up ahead. Hello.
Doc, we're getting pretty close to the old burying grounds.
Well?
Maybe... Oh, look here, Doc. Let's not be fools. Let's wait till morning.
What? Let those frightened girls freeze to death? Get along.
But, Doc,
You come with me, or the whole town will know what a yellow-livered no-good you are.
All right. All right. You don't have to get so sore, Doc.
Hello? Hello? Anybody up there? Hello?
Doc! Doc, look.
What?
There they are. Up ahead.
Glory be, they're alive. The both of them. Come on.
Doc, look at them. That's the burying ground up there. And they're dancing. Dancing on the graves.
What? They must be out of their heads. Come on. We've got to stop.
Doc, wait for me. Oh, Doc, it's Doc again. Where are they, Doc? Where are the girls? Have they stopped dancing?
Yes.
Huh?
They've stopped dancing. Did they ever dance?
What are you talking about, Doc? We saw them. We saw them dancing in this place with our own eyes.
Did we? The moonlight. Here it comes again. See with your eyes again.
Oh, no.
Both of the girls froze stiff to the ground, each with her head crushed by a tombstone.
Strobler, would you mind telling us, me, whether there actually are such things as poltergeists?
All I can tell you is this. There are authenticated records in existence that, in the city of London on the 27th day of April, 1872, from 4 in the afternoon on a Thursday until 11:30 at night, a certain room in a certain house was deluged by stones thrown from no apparent source. The London police surrounded the house, but they found no trace of whoever or whatever was throwing those stones with a murderous violence.
I see. So much for poltergeist. But what about next week?
Well, anything can happen, but specifically next week, Mungara. A strange title and a strange story. The power of suggestion. The dictators have shown us to what evil purposes that power can be used. Well, next week, a man who... but that, as usual, is next week.
Yes. Lights Out, written and directed by Arch Oboler, will come to you again next Tuesday at the same time. Be sure to listen for the amazing story of Mungara.
All right, Jason. Give it to me straight, man.
That was pretty interesting. I love scary stories, and this one seemed to be... Actually, you were right. It was the scariest one that we've heard so far.
Without a doubt. I think it's the realism of the thing. There's not a lot of hoopla going on, not a lot of music, not a lot of dressing on this thing. They just told you a story, and you're sitting there imagining graves smashing heads. It's just outrageous.
But you know what else can be really scary about this story is that people technically don't like to walk on graves because they believe that it's like a form of disrespect, but also people believe that weird things can happen when you walk on graves. So this is a wives' tale that seems to play into people's heads that makes it even more scary because we've heard about this stuff growing up.
Have you ever heard any kind of folklore that says that you can release a poltergeist by dancing or walking on a grave?
Kind of similar to that, yes. It's supposed to be some type of curse or something like that. It's supposed to come over there and give you bad luck, kind of like when you break a mirror. But I've never heard of it actually coming out and killing you. But, you know, anytime something bad happens and you anticipate it, it's never going to be a pleasant thought. So,
Yes, but having a gravestone fall on your head might hurt.
That would hurt a little bit. It would make a little bit of a dent. I mean, my part would just never be the same, you know.
All right, one more thing before we go on to our famous Q&A section. Did you know that grave dancing was popular in ancient Egypt?
No, I did not.
Oh, man, it was so popular, in fact, that people started burying themselves under anti-grave dancing devices, or, as they're more popularly known as, pyramids. This was because they thought grave dancing prevented the soul from ascending to meet their god Ra. This is not a new thing.
Interesting.
Well, do you have anything else that you want to say about this story? I'm pretty much going to put it in the freakiest story we've ever had.
Yep, and I think it pretty much spoke for itself. So if anybody has questions, then, we can answer it later.
All right, Jason, we have questions and answers, do we not?
Yes, we do.
All right, let's get to them. Okay, Jason, well, I'm guessing that we got mail again, but, I never know these things until I talk to you.
We always get mail. That's what I love about the show, is we get to answer these questions and comments and hear from the people that listen to our show and see what they have to talk to us about, and hopefully we can answer them.
All right. Well, then, take it away, Jason.
Now, I think this one came from a weirdo, but I'm not sure. I think it could be me, I don't know, but I'm going to read it. Ron, I was doing some surfing and I came across horrorexpresspodcast.wordpress.com. Well, it's a mouthful. Know anything about that?
Well, now, did you say horrorexpresspodcast.wordpress.com?
I did.
Are you sure you said horrorexpresspodcast.wordpress.com?
I did.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I know a lot about it. I put it out there. So you're not the weirdo, I am.
Oh, you're the weirdo.
Yeah, well, so here's what's happening, guys. RonsAmazingStories.com, the WordPress site, is going bye-bye. And I'm not happy with my service provider, so I'm taking steps to make my life happy. To do that, I'm moving directly to WordPress, and I have set up a site just for the Horror Express podcast all by itself. It's still in the generation phase, but it's getting closer all the time, and eventually we'll have a decent name for it. But right now, it's horrorexpresspodcast.wordpress.com. Jason, now what was that site again?
It was horrorexpresspodcast.wordpress.com.
Rolls off the tongue.
It does.
Okay. Now we've got our housekeeping out of the way. Let's get to the actual emails.
All right. We received an excellent email from Adam Kolkowski. He said, Sasquatch info for you. He sent us a whole bunch of stuff on Bigfoot. Actually, it was really interesting to see. But unfortunately, it was a little bit too long to read here. Can we post it somewhere?
Jason, I've already done that. I'm going to put it both on the old site and the new so that the listeners can read the whole thing through. And you're right, there's a lot of good information and links to follow that presents some really good evidence that Sasquatch is real. Do you think you can read part of the email to us at least?
Yeah, I believe I can. It says, listen to your episode at this very moment. You and your co-host said use the new comment form on the website. So here's a few things about Sasquatch. There's piles and piles of evidence and DNA. The only piece of the puzzle left is that the actual body to basically validate the DNA. If they had a body, it would be the missing link in the endless catch-22. I have made a playlist of the best video evidence on YouTube.com. I honestly got sick of having to go through numerous pages to find the right videos. I believe what I have put together are completely valid videos. I hope Jason sees this. And I personally have found the footprints in Little Manatee River State Park, a juveniles whose footprints were 11.5 inches long, found after a rainstorm with a clean deck of sand.
Wow.
So now we will have the link to Adam's YouTube channel in the show notes.
Wow. So he's got an actual footprint in. That's a pretty big foot.
I would think so.
Well, anyway, I have read through that information as well, and Adam outdid himself. He really put some stuff together to show us that, hey, there's a lot of evidence out there, and he's right. The only thing that's missing is that link between the DNA evidence that they do have and the DNA evidence of an actual creature. Put those together, they match, it's solved. We have Sasquatch. But,
and I would like to see that eventually. I hope that they find them in my lifetime, because I would like to see this actually proven or completely disproven. But I believe that it's out there. It's just one of those things I just wish we could find.
Like I said before, I've heard them banging on things and screaming, but never seen one. But, there's evidence.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to say that to Adam, thanks. Thanks very much. We really appreciate it. And a lot of that information I wish we would have had when we did the show. So thank you so much.
All right. We got another one. And this is from our faithful listener, Brian Johnson. He loved the Bigfoot show. Wish we could solve this thing once and for all. I thought the story was freaky. I live in the swamp and two things scare the out of me. Vampires and the chupacabra. Thanks, guys.
Vampires and chupacabra, huh?
Vampires, chupacabras, and swamp monkeys, oh my.
Well, you know what? Vampires, I'm still on the fence on. Chupacabra, I think those little guys run around. I think there's many different forms of those guys, and that might be worth a show sometime, just chatting about them.
Yeah, cryptozoology is some really cool stuff, and I have seen a lot of different pictures of the chupacabra, and also of the Mothman, which is really interesting to see too, because people have actually said they've seen some pictures of it. Of course, the pictures are always a little foggy on all of them, even the chupacabra, but it does make for some really cool discussions, that's for sure.
Well, thank you, Brian Johnson.
Yes, thank you. All right, we got another one. This is a tweet from Wilson Wilson. And he said, dang, man, that OTR story about the vampire was off the hook. It scared the crap out of me. Don't turn the lights off on that one.
Wait till he hears this week's.
Yeah.
I guess the listeners have already heard it, but I wonder what he thinks of this week's, if he thought that vampire one was off the hook. All right, well, thank you, Wilson Wilson. I wonder if you're the Wilson Wilson from the Castaway movie starring Tom Hanks.
That's good.
Yep. All right, Jason, what do you got?
All right. Harry sent in the story via the comment page. He goes, I saw Bigfoot once. I was in the Pinchot National Forest hiking with friends. We had gone off the trail following an old logging road when we heard the banging in the woods starting. We followed them and came to something standing on the hill. It had to be about 8 feet tall and hairy. He screamed at us and we ran the other way. Changed my life. Pretty interesting.
So let me set the scene here. You're up in the mountains. You're surrounded by trees. You're on an old logging road and you hear some banging. Then something standing on the hill that had to be 8 feet tall. Yeah, I think I'd scream and run the other way too.
You know, that is the exact type of scenario that starts off with all horror movies.
Yeah, that's right.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Perry, and thank you for the story. You didn't ask a question, so I really don't know what to say other than I agree. Run the other way.
Unless you're me, I'll run right towards it, but that's just...
All right, any more, Jason?
Yep, we got one more. This one's actually for me. It says, my name is Melissa, and I just started ghost hunting with friends. We've tried graveyards, old houses, and even 100-year-old warehouse. We have got nothing. What are we doing wrong? Do you have any suggestions? 2 other members have already quit now, and there are only 3 of us left. Well, I know the frustration. Now, the thing about it is, just because somebody says something's haunted, it doesn't mean it's actually haunted. We cannot make ghosts just pop out of the blue on demand and do something. That's one of the things about ghost hunting that can be very frustrating is you go out, you spend all the time, you stay up all night and get nothing. The best thing I can tell you to do is just keep trying. It takes a really good trained ear too, because you really got to sit there and know what EVPs are and listen for them. Don't give up. Just keep going. But find somebody that's sensitive to things. Maybe find somebody that's like a psychic or has some type of empathetic energy or readings ability, and take them along. If they don't find anything or they don't feel anything, you probably aren't going to find anything yourself. We have with cemeteries that lore of there's dead people here. Oh, scary. However, that doesn't necessarily mean it's haunted. As far as an old house, just because it's old doesn't mean it's haunted. What you got to do is kind of research some of these old houses, find out if there's ever been any death inside of it. A lot of old houses did have funerals in there. They'd have the wakes and everything else in these houses. So sometimes that can give you that residual energy that you're looking for. Again, doesn't mean it's haunted. I've been to probably 30 to 40 places, and maybe one I found some really good evidence. So just keep going at it. If you truly love it and it's fun for you, just do it, and eventually you might just catch what you're looking for. That's the best advice I can give you.
I guess my comment would be, if you're brand new at it and you're not sure what you're doing, maybe try to find a ghost hunting group that is a little older, that does have some experiences. That may help your group stay together, hearing the reinforcement. Yes, it does happen, but it's very rare. and you just got to be patient.
Patience is a very good quality about this, but also when you're looking for people, make sure that they don't find every place that they go into haunted, because that is a good indicator they don't know what they're doing either. If you're going to do that, research the group a little bit, see what their philosophies are, see if they're just out to find the place haunted or if they're out there to find a real solution. Because like I said, not everything is haunted. Just because things happen like lights flicker on and off in the house doesn't mean it's not a bad ballast in a fluorescent light or a bad wiring signal. So see if they really do their job and see what type of evidence they propose, and then they may be one you're willing to reach out to and talk to, and will give you a good heads up on what to look for.
Well, Melissa, I hope that answered, or at least helped to answer your question. I want you to know, Jason, and I just appreciate you for giving us a chance to answer.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Well, Jason, I think that's it, is it not? Are we done for this podcast?
I think we are.
Are you sure? Because we got to turn it over to the conductor if we're done.
Yeah, I think we're done.
And he won't give it back.
Let's let him talk it. Oh, he gives it back, that's for sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you, Jason, for a wonderful show.
Yep, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to us, and we enjoy it, and we'll see you on the next one, and hopefully we'll have some other cool little things to discuss.
Well, guys, thanks for another great show. I was surprised that you pulled off your discussion on dolls. To think, a haunted doll, all my own, for Christmas. It makes me just misty-eyed all over, just to think about it. If I got one, I would name her Carrie Reagan. Two very famous gals indeed. Do you know them? Well, that's it for the Horror Express this time. If you have any questions or comments for Jason, Ron, or myself, please email them to us at ronsamazingstories@gmail.com or tweet us at RAS Podcast. Oh yes, now the bad news. There's no way off this train. You're gonna have to jump. Good luck, and see you next time on the Horror Express.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.